Steph Dieter Kurtenbach, Bay Area News Group. How much contemplation this summer did you give to the leadership role that you'll have to continue on and maybe even up to another level this year with all the roster turnover?
I mean, there's always an awareness of what the situation is going into any season. From a leadership perspective, it doesn't change much in terms of just what are the specific things that this team needs to be successful. Obviously, we have a lot of new guys, a lot of young guys. Myself, Clay, whenever he comes back, Draymond, Kevon, able to help set the tone for what our DNA is here, how we do things, our championship kind of mentality. But at the end of the day, it's just about continue to do things that help me be successful and help me lead, teams in the past, and just a level of awareness and trying to be as proactive as possible, making everybody feel comfortable, building chemistry, and leading by example. I don't have to change much in that respect.
Third row, right-hand side, Phil. Okay.
C.J. Peterson, San Francisco Examiner. Steve was talking about, you're the oldest guy on this roster now. So
Stop reminding me.
How strange is that? I mean, just considering, where you started, obviously, in this franchise, and to be where you're at now.
I mean, just hearing it's weird, but I'm still young. So I wake up every day with a smile on my face, with the opportunity I have in front of me, being in my prime, being able to play basketball at the highest level and do it, with this team and in front of this franchise, or in front of our fan base, and I know I have a lot of years left at this level. So it doesn't change anything, but just make me laugh, and for people to notice some gray hairs that might pop out every once in a while. But other than that, it's kind of business as usual. I do miss Sean and Andre for that reason, though.
Third row, right-hand side, Phil.
Hey, Steph, to your right, Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press, Democrat. Have you got to run the court with D'Angelo a bit, and how are you feeling about the two of you as a backcourt?
Yeah, we played a couple times. We worked out a couple times over the summer, and we've had a lot of conversations about what it could look like. And this next 3 weeks will be important for us to create a vibe and continue to build chemistry. Excited about some of the stuff we talked about and some of the options we have to kind of work off each other. I know, the coaching staff and whatnot have a lot of opportunity to kind of mix and match lineups and try to figure things out as we go. And there's going to be a lot of fine tuning and testing things out. But at the end of the day, two talented guys that know how to put the ball in the basket, know how to make plays for each other and teammates. And, I've proven what we can do in this league. You have a confidence you can figure it out.
Front row, right-hand
Steph,
side,
Tim Kalkame, The Athletic. With all the new guys and maybe D'Angelo's side, is there some factor that you're most intrigued by, most curious to see how this camp goes? Is there one area, one player that you go, okay, that could be interesting?
I mean, I could talk to you about every single guy that I've seen that's on the roster right now about what they could, provide for our team, and that they're going to need to provide for our team for us to be successful. But at the end of the day, I kind of don't know how things are really going to shape out. I'm just excited to get going, playing a preseason game on Saturday and kind of seeing what the new look's going to be. And every guy in that locker room is going to have an opportunity to help us succeed. I don't want that cheesy answer, but it's literally more relevant than any year we've had. We're doing it by committee and having guys take another step in their careers, solidify themselves as NBA players if they're young guys in the league, and just continue to get better collectively and individually. There's an importance on player development more than there ever has been, so I'm excited about that.
Third row, left-hand side, Medina.
Hey, Steph, what sense have you gotten from Steve and the training staff on what your workload might be this season? What would you like it to be?
48 minutes a game for 82. It's pretty much confirmed by Coach Kerr just a minute ago, so very excited about that.
Third row, left-hand side as well.
Steph, Dan Wecky with the Los Angeles Times. It seemed like teams around the league view you guys as being more vulnerable than you have been in the past years, and teams have stacked rosters and made moves. I'm curious kind of what your reaction is to what other teams in the conference have done, and if it feels different going into the season, maybe without the exact same sort of expectations that have been exteriorly on you guys in the past.
I mean, every year since we've been at this stage, every team's trying to get better to knock us off when we won or retool to just win a championship. That's what everybody's in this business to do. So, you know, look at every era of basketball, you know, for a team to sustain this type of, you know, level of play and this greatness, it doesn't happen that often. And when you need to retool, it may look different, but the great teams, great players, you know, figure it out as they go. So no surprise, there's a lot of talent and a lot of, you know, powerful lineups that you look at, Western Conference, Eastern Conference, whatever it is. But we want to be a team that's feared across the league. When you see us on the schedule, regular season, we get to the playoffs, that they know what they're in for. Doesn't mean that people are going to say we're the greatest or pick us as favorites or whatnot, but you know who those teams are, and we're going to be one of them.
Second row, right-hand side, Ann.
Steph Ann Killian with the San Francisco Chronicle. Steve called this building a metaphor for the new season and kind of all the unknowns. I'm just wondering personally, is that exciting to you? With, you know, for 4 years you guys have been chasing the championship and with a lot of knowns and a lot of expectations. What's the feel for you in the new building, new season, so many unknowns?
Yeah, even being in this room is like weird. I haven't gone through a certain routine for me for 10 years, and knowing this move was coming, you kind of had to just go through a couple days, weeks, months, and just kind of get used to the new surroundings and the new settings and new routines. As a team, for me, I've just been thinking about how this building is going to create an opportunity for us to kind of walk into a new era, appreciating, you know, the accomplishments we have, the 5 finals in a row, chasing more, you know, all the things that we did in Oakland and at Oracle. But for all the new guys, like, we're going to be a different team, and to embrace that. And this building gives us an opportunity to create something new and create something special. We don't have to live up to a style or any expectation that we had in the past. It's more so just how we're going to walk into this new chapter with a fresh start. And that's easier to say with a new building than, you know, with the sights and sounds of Oracle, honestly, with all that happened in that building. So I'm excited about that part for sure, because, you know, if you're a newcomer to this team or, you know, one of the young guys, you know about it, but you kind of don't know what it feels like. This can be something that we create, you know, on our own, and that'll be special and an advantage for us.
Second row, right-hand side, Logan.
Steph, you joked about playing 48 minutes a game for all 82s. I'm assuming that's a joke, but in all honesty, how do you see your workload in this season, considering that Kevin is gone, considering that Clay is going to be out for some time? Do you see an extra responsibility, particularly on the offensive end, this season?
Yeah, I mean, I always say I have the same mentality no matter who's out on the floor, and when working off those guys and knowing how I can make an impact on the floor. It doesn't mean I'm taking every shot. You try to make other players better. I've been fortunate enough to play with some extremely talented guys, and we've all made each other better. But coming in this year, it's the same mentality. You just you go out there, for me, have an idea of what I want to accomplish, how I want to go about it. I always, you know, work off my teammates really well no matter who's out there, and try to uplift everybody. So I'm going to have that same mentality. I don't know what it's going to look like, how many minutes I'm going to play. We haven't honestly really talked about it that much, but it's just an opportunity to take another step and evolve. And I'll put the work in and will continue to do that for as long as I can. So just excited every time I get to play basketball. Looking forward to having fun, playing the game I love.
Far back left-hand corner, Joe.
Steph, as the team's acknowledged elder spokesman now, just kind of curious.
Thank you. That's a better way to say it. I like that. I like
Curious about your take on today's development, the California governor signing that law that will allow college athletes to potentially be compensated for their likeness, and how that potentially could have affected you.
I don't know. That's so long ago. I went through my college days, but anything that kind of speaks to creating opportunities for athletes to, take advantage of what they put into their craft, and how much money the NCAA is making. There's a huge, obviously, so many debates going on whether it's good or bad for the league. I love player-friendly things that put people in positions to be successful and to get what they're owed and deserved. And so I know Draymond's been very active in kind of planting his flag on that. LeBron with the having Mayor Gavin Newsom on the show and all that type of stuff. So creating change and creating opportunity is huge. No, there's still a lot of work to be done in that respect, but this is a nice step in the right direction for sure.
Front row, right-hand side, Anthony.
Last year at Media Day, number one topic was probably free agency, not just with Kevin. Clay was getting questions. Draymond was still kind of in an unknown spot. You guys, your main core now is locked in for at least 3 to 5 years. Can you feel that around that cloud kind of lifted from the franchise a little bit? And does that help? Will that help you?
Honestly, I think that conversation just blends in with everything else that's quote unquote change in terms of the new roster, new building. What happened at the end of last year in the finals. So for us, yeah, it's nice, and we talked about it a little bit, in between our groups or over the summer of how cool it is for especially me, Clay, and Draymond to have been the young guys at one point, and now we are how'd you say it? Elder spokesmen that are now kind of leading the charge and locked in for the foreseeable future to kind of reshape what we want to accomplish and how we want to go about it. So there's a level of just comfortability in that, I guess, as you go through and saying, okay, we know who we are. There's new pieces. We're going to put it all together, and we're going to have the same expectations and just grind our way through it.
Two more for Steph. Monty, left-hand side, front row.
Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area. You mentioned Andre and Sean, but what will you miss about them? What will have to be replaced, and can it be replaced, the things that they bought with you guys the last few years here, because they've been here for this entire run?
I mean, it's going to be really hard to. Not just what they do on the floor and the intangibles and, just that winning mentality that they brought every single time they stepped foot on the floor. It was that kind of idea that you had two guys that just knew how to handle their business, were ultimate professionals, were extremely savvy and knowledgeable about how the game worked, how the business of basketball worked, and you didn't have to worry about them. They said the right thing at the right time. They led by example, and you respected them when they walked in the room because of who they are and what they have gone through in their careers. So there's an opportunity for somebody to step up in that role in terms of filling the gaps on the court from X's and O's standpoint, and helping us be successful and win games. And we'll develop the chemistry and that locker room presence that's needed. At the end of the day, myself, Draymond, Clay, we're gonna lead the charge in that front. D'Angelo's gonna have a huge opportunity to be a vocal leader for this team, and he's gonna need to be. But at the end of the day, there should be some unsung hero, some guys that can step up in terms of being consistent with their work ethic and demonstrating that every single day, being vocal and understanding that their voice can carry and helping us get to where we want to go.
Final question, third row, right-hand side, Ron.
Ron Krojcik, San Francisco Chronicle. Sorry, no golf questions today. how much you guys obviously were looking forward to integrating Willie Cauley-Stein in training camp, and he's going to be out for a while now. How much of a setback is that? And sort of a semi-related question with that, Looney's development last season was pretty striking from the outside. How much a step forward did he take, and how much more ready, in what ways is he more ready to take on a bigger role?
I mean, he just could answer the second question. Kevon just keeps getting better, and whether it's talked about or not, he puts the work in, and he's come back from his surgeries and his setbacks, and just stayed steady. And I think that's important, in terms of that could have taken somebody's confidence away in terms of putting doubt in what they are as an NBA player, and he's kind of moved on from that in a very strong way, and it's been awesome to play with him, just to watch him grow, to see him have impacts on the biggest stages, and you expect that same kind of step up this year with the added responsibility, maybe a little added workload and whatnot. So we're going to rely on him heavy for sure. And with Willie, it's a tough blow early, before we even get to training camp, but hopefully in the long term he'll come back strong and healthy. I'm excited to see him kind of fill that center position in the minutes that he'll get out there, and add a rim attack, defensive presence, and just energy. When I saw him playing sack, that was something that always stood out. He can run the floor. He can put pressure on the rim on both ends, and I think for him, especially defensively, he can be a huge spark plug for us. Kind of man the paint, blocking shots, just being a force at the rim on both ends, and excited for him to have the opportunity to play with a team that hopefully is playing for something big.